The WWE happens to be the biggest wrestling promotion in the current industry, and has done so many amazing things over the years. Just recently, something unimaginable has happened, and there is one person to blame. So, what is going on? Why is the WWE firing everyone? Well, stay tuned because today we are discussing this and more. First up, who could be behind it all? The first thing to cover is just who could be behind the firings and other things happening right now. Well, the current boss of the WWE is seemingly behind it all, but we don't really know. Vince McMahon has always been one to talk in truths, so him firing 18 superstars not long ago isn't out of character for him. There are so many theories going around about what is really happening, but Vince McMahon is the main one right now. Now that we know who could be leading this charge, what is really going on with all this firing and why are they doing it? Next up, what has been happening? Black Wednesday occurred last year and was where the WWE released a bunch of their talents and everyone ended up being super shocked. The WWE has always named these releases as so-called budget cuts, which seemed like a pretty normal and fair reason to let some of their talents go, especially with COVID-19 being even more prominent back then. The COVID season really hurt many businesses, and because less people could fight, it really hurt the amount of money that the WWE could gain. Unlike other fighting companies, the WWE still kept on creating weekly shows because of how tight-knit the group was back then. Fast forward to this year, and the WWE are releasing plenty more superstars, which are in the midst of getting repackaged or even pushed. This at last means the market's health is way better than it was last year during the worst stages of the pandemic. So, how many wrestlers have been fired in 2021? When the last trend of firing so many talents was happening, people thought that when the pandemic was sorted out and things went back to normal, that everything would settle down. So, what happened? Well, of course we know now that things haven't calmed down, and they are still firing so many people from the WWE. The trend didn't change, and they have carried on firing people in chunks throughout this year. With the most recent firing, we now have 72 individuals from the company, and they were all in different storylines and stages of their careers. It's not like they targeted specific types of wrestlers, they were all different types and had all been around for many different amounts of years. The fact that they have released these 72 individuals shows that the WWE are trying to limit the number of fighters that they have right now. Vince McMahon is clearly doing something. It's a weird thing to do, so why is he doing it? Now, why is Vince McMahon firing so many people? Whilst the trend of firing definitely came during the pandemic, Vince McMahon was actually doing it way earlier. The year before, he fired company co-president George Barrios and Michelle Wilson and replaced them with the current Nick Khan, who was the former co-head of television at the CAA. He is now not only the president, but also the chief of revenue at the company. This means he now works directly under Vince McMahon. These firings began because of the number of wrestlers that the company has. The number of wrestlers is still high even now, and now looks like Khan and McMahon are in no mood to compromise when it comes to their resources. So they're gonna fire anyone without caring about the repercussions on the wrestlers. They just want to reap the benefits for the company. There have also been multiple wrestlers who have wanted a release from the company, but others who didn't want to have been fired instead. The wrestlers who have been fired were also in storylines that now need to be changed to fit what happened behind the scenes. It's not a good look for the WWE and Vince McMahon. And now, is it all about the budget? As we know now, the infamous budget cuts are what were claimed to be the cause of all of this. They wanted to cut down on the number of wrestlers they had at the WWE because of how much money it costs to keep each one on the payrolls and cover everything else around them. However, if this is actually the case, it means that the company needs to bleed money from every possible avenue. However, they just recently announced that they have generated a massive total of around $260,000 for this quarter alone. It seems like Vince McMahon is trying to sell the WWE to someone else at this point. Whilst Nick Khan has denied every claim that Vince McMahon is trying to sell out, it looks like it actually is the case. Vince McMahon is known for having a complex mind and a difficult mindset for those he works with. So this wouldn't be an out-of-character move for him. Hopefully, we get a concrete answer to why all these talents have been fired, and everyone is waiting on Vince McMahon for that one. Stay tuned because now we have some WWE news. Is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson coming back to the WWE? The Rock left WWE to pursue a different career and ended up being one of the biggest actors in the world and one of the biggest male talents to come out of the WWE in its entire history. The Rock really transcended the WWE with his move to acting and really showed what something like the WWE can do for someone's career. Since then, The Rock set a trend of wrestlers leaving to become actors. Saw John Cena leave to do the same thing as The Rock, and he also had some insane success in doing so. One thing fans have been wondering is if The Rock will ever return to the WWE for an event of some sorts. Whilst we have heard him talk about his roots proudly and his lust to return at some point, nothing has been set in stone. Just recently, The Rock happened to post something to his Twitter account hinting towards some sort of return. With everything happening around the WWE right now, having their biggest star return is going to let them sort things out a little bit and hide what is going on. The hype around The Rock returning would be insane if it is confirmed to be true. He really is the biggest thing to come out of the WWE, and fans have wanted him back for years now. Currently, it seems like something is happening with The Rock and the WWE at least. Maybe he is returning for an event, or maybe he's just going to add to a new storyline. We will have to wait and see, but at least it looks like he's coming back and in some shape or form. And finally we have, is Triple H retired. The final piece of news on today's list is based around one of the biggest talents to ever come out of the WWE, Triple H. Triple H was the WWE's biggest wrestler for the longest time, and everyone just loved him. He had so many famous fights and was easily the favorite for the longest time. We saw Triple H slowly fall out of the fighting world, and he really fell back into the background at some point. People never forgot about him. It just seemed like he didn't want to fight anymore. Since then, he has been a part of the background of the WWE and has been there to help with the casting talents for the network. He is working with Vince McMahon behind the scenes to make sure the new talent are on top form and so they can find the next big hitters for the WWE. But one thing fans are wondering is if Triple H is actually retired or not. Well, whilst nothing has been officially confirmed about his retirement, it looks like he just doesn't want to fight right now. He has been helping out the company for years now and actually considers himself semi-retired. It seems like he is fine coming back for exhibition matches and some story moments, but in terms of returning as a proper wrestler who fights all the time, it looks like those days are over for him. He is getting old and really just wants to sit back, relax, and help out as much as he can. There is no need for him to fight anymore. People love Triple H no matter what he does. And that's the end of the video. Vince McMahon has had some really weird things going on recently, and these talents being fired just puts a bad taste in everyone's mouths. They just want answers. They want to know what is actually happening with these talents and why they were let go in the first place. Hopefully, we get an answer soon, as people aren't happy about some of the newer talent being removed for basically no reason at all. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let us know in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe with notifications on. Thanks for watching. Bye!